Crime games. I'm gonna be honest, crime games are some of the best games out there. It always comes with a good story, You're usually in a gang, you gotta kill people, you got ops, you gotta make money, and you usually, have an open city to roam around and control. Honestly, a formula used again and again, but it's just such a great formula that it works. And a lot of people call these games GTA clones, because Grand Theft Auto was kind of the first to have this formula. But I think this is kind of just, a good game formula and not really copying GTA in general. But these games are always so captivating, keeping me hooked from beginning to end. Now, I'm sure everyone already knows GTA and RDR2. Like, everyone knows that they're good games, but there are other great crime games that people really sleep on. And speaking of sleeping, the first game that I will talk about that is super underrated is Sleeping Dogs. I remember discovering this game during my freshman year during a low time in my life, and honestly, it was just so peak and brought so much, happiness to that hard time. Sleeping Dogs is a game set in Hong Kong where you play as the character Wei Shen. And in this game, you're an undercover cop who joins the Triads. And while some people may say, oh, this just looks like Chinese GTA, it's actually really different. You see, Grand Theft Auto focuses mainly on shooting, while Sleeping Dogs focuses on combat. And the combat in Sleeping Dogs is really solid. You got your normal attack encounters, but on top of that, you got really special moves and a lot of great environmental takedowns. It's just so fun taking a guy and shoving him into a fan or, pushing him into an aquarium take. And on top of the great combat, there's also pretty good shooting. Some may say the shooting's kind of or kind of basic, but I really thought it just got the job done and was really fun. It's your basic cover shooting with, a few cool guns. In Hong Kong, guns are more rare, so there's only certain sequences in the game where you'll be shooting people, but when you do, I honestly had a great time with that. The shooting combat felt flashy and honestly really cool, like you're in a movie. And the story was great. I loved the characters and getting to know them, and getting to know what the Triad was like. And the game's not afraid to take, turns and risks. It has a lot of great moments in the story that will keep you captivated in it. I think Sleeping Dogs is one of the most underrated games of all time, and I recommend it to everyone. The next underrated crime game I'm going to talk about is GTA San Andreas. Now, I know a lot of you are probably saying GTA San Andreas is not underrated and that it's a lot of love, even with how old it is. But I just think it's overshadowed by GTA 5 now, and back in the day, GTA San Andreas had some features that 5 doesn't even have, and I just really loved the vibe of it, even more than the vibe of other games. The music, the characters, the locations, just such a great story and game. In GTA San Andreas, you play as Carl Johnson, a man part of the Grove Street families, which is a gang in their version of LA. And the story is not something to be taken too seriously, but it's got a lot of great characters, a lot of funny moments, and it was really interesting. But the best part about this game is the world. There's multiple cities you can drive to. It's even an airport to fly in between cities. The music is great. You can go to the gym, you can work out, you can also get some food, go out, take your girlfriend on a date. Honestly, there's so much to do for such an old game. While it's an old PS2 game, it probably has more content than 90% of games today. And just the story being focused around, the hood and the gangs and families was so great. If you enjoy movies like Friday, you'll really enjoy this game. Alright, third game I'm going to talk about, or games I'm going to talk about, are Mafia 1 and 2. And by Mafia 1, I mean Mafia Definitive Edition. A few weeks ago, right before Christmas, I actually bought Mafia Definitive Edition. I heard a little bit about it, and it seemed like a cool game. Now, I started this game, and I was honestly pretty surprised by it. The graphics looked amazing, story was super captivating, and the gameplay, honestly, was a blast. There was just something about this game's story that felt so amazing though, like it was a movie, but one of them movies where you can play through and you're really into it. I feel like nowadays there's so many games where you just don't really care about the characters that much. You don't really just have that, you're into it and all that. But in this game, I cared about all of the characters. I was into all of them and I just loved it so much. Honestly, really made me question why I haven't heard more about this game before. Tommy Angelo was honestly a great main character. You got to see his kind of rags to riches story and how he went from a taxi driver to a made man in the Mafia. And then, after beating Mafia 1, I moved on to Mafia 2. And when I played Mafia 2, I was actually surprised. I was like, there's no way the second game can beat the first game. Now, Mafia 2 is a much older game than Mafia Definitive Edition. So, while the graphics aren't as nice, it's still got that PS3 game charm to it. Mafia 2 follows the character Vito Scaletta, who also is a very great main character. But what really, makes the characters a lot better in Mafia 2 is Vito's friend Joe. Seeing these two characters on screen is a blast because they just have such good friend chemistry. It just got that iconic duo going around, doing jobs, killing people. It's such a great game. The story again is great. Gameplay is pretty good. Just such a great game all around. Now, I think overall I liked Mafia Definitive Edition better than Mafia 2. Because while Mafia 2, started off its first half great, the second half was a little weaker. I thought that if Mafia 2 kept its first half throughout the whole game, it probably would have beaten Mafia Definitive Edition. But anyway, both are amazing games and I recommend you check them both out. I'm still yet to play Mafia 3 and Mafia the Old Country, but I'm actually looking forward to playing both of those. Overall, the Mafia series has some of the best storytelling I've seen in games, and if you haven't checked those out, make sure to go pick them up and play them. All of the games I talked about today are games you just pick up and you want to play from start to finish non-stop. They're all super underrated, and honestly, go check those out. Alright, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe. God bless. Have a good one.